How's it going, guys? I'm back again, oddly unorthodox, and it is no lie, and it must be quite obvious that I am fully enjoying the Wood Elves at the minute. But that is obviously just telling the obvious, as about the last 5 or 6 uploads in a row have all been Wood Elves, different units, different types. Just sort of going through the sort of things I enjoy, I feel work well, and then certain things that I need to get better at. And that was the big thing about me doing this for you guys to watch my plays, is I went from the beginning as someone who had not played multiplayer before. Just the odd bit in Total Warhammer 1 and 2, but never really that invested into it. Never did tournaments, never did the ranked one. I've not done ranked 2 yet. And I'm still practicing just in sort of private games, just to sort of find an army that I feel like I do well with, try and learn a bit about the different units and the different armies. But that's enough of that, let's get straight into the game. So, it's myself as Wood Elves with Orion as my lord, and I've got Khorne with Scarbrand as my ally. You know, I'll go through my army in a second, but my ally's gone pretty elite as well. We've got a Bloodthirster, Scarbrand the Exile, but it's also a point, Bloodthirster is up to rank 5. 2 squads of Chaos Warriors of Khorne, Bloodletters, Exalted Bloodletters, 1 squad of Minotaurs with great weapons, and Blood Crushers of Khorne that he's made rank 3. So quite an expensive elite army. Now, obviously I didn't get to see my enemy's army at the start, but I went for 2 Wild Riders, the Lost Silver Knights, and the normal Great Stag Knights, you know, rank 6 on the Great Stag Knights. And then I've got 2 squads of Waystalkers, and the Regent of Renown one, and Orion. So I watched a different Wood Elf player, and he went for like quite a sort of in-your-face Wood Elf build, not let the enemy sort of set up. I made sure my whole army had Vanguard deployment for a start. There is a video coming up maybe tomorrow or the day after that will have Ariel using a Vanguard deployment too, see if I can get some use out of her. But the Lost Silver Knights was the one I wanted to try and see if they were any good. I've never used them before, so they look absolutely awesome. So I thought, you know, why not give them a crack and then bring some normal variants along as well. So going into the game, you know, I didn't know he was going to bring Queen Bess and double Reaper, but it's quite common for Dark Elf players to bring Reaper bolt throwers, and I was sort of expecting mortars or carronades from the Vampire Count player, just the sort of standard stuff. And then I also expected sort of, you know, what are these called? The deck gunners. If he had the actual deck droppers with handgunners, that would have probably screwed me a little bit more, but I could have shot them out the air. So straight away, the first thing I do is straight out the forest. So I split my squads up. I send my 2 Wild Riders after the Reaper bolt throwers, and I send this squad of stags onto the deck gunners, and I try and shut down Queen Bess as soon as possible because I don't want that being able to shoot at my ally. That thing hurts, and just like that, it's dead. You know, the Lost Silver Knights are now changed where they're going, so there's no point running them into the crew, and this is why I try and express to you. So there's 2 extra volleys that I didn't need to use. They've now realised that there's a bit of a switcheroo going on. I swap over to shooting the Necrofex, which you can see is just getting absolutely demolished. The Reaper bolt throwers over here are shut down. So now my Khorne ally, the only thing he has to worry about is the Dark Shards that are here, because I've got rid of all the artillery. You know, I've ran into these Dark Shards as well. I'm trying to break up their sort of range shooting to make it easier for Khorne to get in there and do what Khorne does best: smack them. So as you can see, we've already took down 1 Necrofex. The Lost Silver Knights, they do get caught by some fucking zombie pirate deckhand mobs, sadly, so that's a bit of a shame. But you know, no harm, no foul. The Way Watchers move up. We want to start getting access onto this next Necrofex. So these Great Stag Knights, in my eyes, they've done well. I am going to get some more use out of them, so I do pull them back. They managed to break just before I pull them back. But But now he's going to try and come out to me because he knows he doesn't really want to leave his squads just stood there shooting. So I'm going to do the scooting and shooting technique. As you can see, I'm still just trying to pick off little bits here and there. Just be annoying to the depth guard. Really just trying to cause a little bit of havoc. I did pull the Wild Riders out of his army, so I didn't want him getting caught in the Blackguard and Nagarond. And now sending them back in, now that there's this opening in the middle. So this is the biggest thing while using Wood Elves with the cavalry. And it's probably the hardest part of this army, is pulling your opponent apart so they've got different squads going different places, and then just shimmying cavalry like past these pole arms straight into that pirate gunnery mob. These Silver Knights are now back to mess with that Necrofex, and this is what I'm doing. I'm just pulling different squads into different places so we can't get any sort of coherency. And straight away the Waystalkers move back up again, so I want to finish off this Necrofex. Orion moves up because his javelins, he's anti-large, his armour piercing. And don't be afraid to do what I do in a minute, is I send Orion into melee to give my Waywatchers a bit of an easier time, because Orion's an absolute raid boss. Unless there is some anti-large dedicated to kill him, like a good character killer, allow him to go in, He's got healing blow percentage, max HP, he gains damage resistance, all from the Cloak of Isha, I believe. He's nowhere near that yet, but he does miss that ability, sadly. But we back up again. The Necrofex is down. He's having to send more summons over there to deal with that. He drops a squad of summons here, but we've got cavalry just running amok. So these two squads have been munched by the Wild Riders. Straight away, if you want to make this build extremely more competitive, ditch the Reindeer Riders, even though they're so cool, and just stack Wild Riders. Wild Riders are so cheap for what you get, and as you can see, I'm just running amok with them. These guns are up to 800 gold, but they've killed 120 units. They're going straight into these Dark Shards, breaking them off. I don't know what was being cast there. Oh, an invocation, heck. Not the best invocation for him, but the Fleet Admiral, I'm taking out him with the Waywatchers now. So it's just picking your targets, we're going to get rid of him, get rid of the healing, cancel that off, make sure there's no summons hiding around anymore anyway. Doom bolt straight on the face there. And then next thing we do is we've still got quite a few shots, 9 in them, 4 in them, 13 in them. It's on to Malus next. Shooting him, chipping away his HP, making sure he's not having a fun game. And then I'll send my Wild Riders in because I don't really want any more dark magic coming down. I can't express this enough, and I keep repeating myself to you guys, but take your time and pick apart. When you've got the superior mobility like we've got here, I've got more, I've took out the artillery. I've got more cavalry than he has. So I'm just using and abusing what I've got. Orion's here just fighting, just doing Orion things. The best Wood Elf Lord by far. Anyone that doesn't agree is lying. He is the coolest Wood Elf there is. So, we've got Shades there, Chaos Warriors of Khorne there, and then we move up with the Wild Riders. We took out the Magic Caster for them there, and then this is the, I'll say it's the posturing as it comes. They all line their forces up. I noticed they've got some shades, so straight away, Scroll of Leeching on my Wild Riders for some reason. I suppose I've got nothing else from Scroll of Leeching. I suppose neither's the Khorne alloys, so I guess why not? Might as well get the use out of it. So I send both squads of these. They're nearly breaking. I mean, there's 2 of them left, and they're still breaking off Dark Shards and stuff like that. So they did pay for themselves, them guys, but we'll have a look at the end like I'd like to do and just sort of go over values and stuff like that. So I'm sending them down to shut these shades down because, full HP shades, I don't really want to let them sit there and start shooting. So we get into them, chew them up, and then we send Orion up, cast a few spells. be a little bit annoying. But I'll give the charge bonus to me and my ally, but it ends there. So, quite a quick little game, and you will find you get quicker games playing the Wood Elves like that because you are straight up in the face and you're trying to cause as much damage as possible. Now, if you're just playing with friends, having a laugh, probably don't use this build. It does feel a bit sweaty and a bit cheesy. You know, it's purposely there to ruin the other person's game. But at the end of the day, it is a valid strategy. So if you are playing sort of, you know, the ranked or anything like that, you know, feel free to use it. And if you really want to upset your friends, use it on them too. So, Orion, yes, he may have only done 650 gold worth of value, but I used him more as sort of stand in the way and stop the units getting to my Way Watchers. So he did do his job well. His passive didn't proc on his item, so he had way more to give. You know, and he probably could have fought any of the lords there for a little amount of time just to buy time if needed. So the Lost Silver Knights, I think they probably did get caught up in too many polearm units when I should have pulled them back. So I will use them again and see if I get a bit more done with them, see if I can maybe get them a bit more useful. You know, 3,000 gold on these guys, and you guys know, you've watched my last videos, that there isn't a game when the Way Watchers don't just pay for themselves and more. You know, 1,772 gold, I'll take that. It's a good value in my eyes. The only reason it feels a bit sour in the mouth is because we look over these two Way Watchers, and then we look at Wild Riders, which are a lot cheaper, and both Wild Riders nearly got about the same amount without the upgrades, and they're a hell of a lot cheaper, so I could have got rid of those and maybe brought 3 more squads of Wild Riders. I don't know, I haven't done the math. Maybe 3 or 4 more squads of Wild Riders. So, when it does come to that, it is probably better to go with Wild Riders. But I'll have another go with the Reindeer Knights, and I'll let you guys know because you'll see the videos when I upload them. Right, thanks for watching, guys. This has been Oddly Unorthodox.